Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Modern Warfare 3. My name is RThree. More importantly, welcome to my Modern Warfare 3 review. With this video, I'm going to be going through Modern Warfare 3 from the release date and the campaign. This is going to be a little bit of a recap and review video, and I'm going to be looking at a lot of things in depth. I will also split this video into sections if you want to skip to the campaign or the zombies or the multiplayer, or if you just want to skip to the end and see my overall comment. The options there. Modern Warfare 3 officially came out 10th of November 2023. I say officially because obviously we had the beta before that and we had the campaign as early access. So let's start with just that, the campaign. This will contain spoilers, so if you haven't played the Modern Warfare 3 campaign and you are wanting to play the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, either skip to the zombies part or turn the video off and come back to it once you've done the campaign. I didn't realize until I started planning this video that I never actually played the campaign when the game first came out. I remember starting it, I did the first 2 missions, and then I stopped for some reason. So currently, all of this is still fresh in my mind. Getting straight into it, the first mission is a very good introduction in my opinion, breaking into the prison to break someone out. I'm going to be honest right now, my favorite part about this mission is on this part where the lights go out in the control room and the entire room is lit by gunfire. And then we get to who we're breaking out, which is Makarov. It turns out he's back. You'd know that if you saw the end of Modern Warfare 2. Next, we see Farah with what I am guessing is a family friend, Dina. I believe Dina is a new character. Or I guess she was a new character until she died. That leads us into our first open combat mission. Now I'm going to take a bit of time just to talk about the open combat missions and my thoughts on them, because I know this was a big talking point when the campaign first came out. This one specifically, you started with a knife, you have to find weapons, you have to put trackers on the containers first. You have to find the trackers. My only downside with the combat missions are that yes, you can go in stealthy or loud. You do have the option. However, for most of the open combat missions, I started without a suppressor, so I had no choice but to go loud, which became a bit of a problem because if you go loud, it attracts convoys, it attracts MG trucks, and it eventually attracts helicopters that hunt you down. I don't mind the open combat missions. I just wish they were done a little bit better. Anyway, all the trackers are on the containers, and that's mission done. Next, we see Makarov giving his return speech and giving Ivan his punishment for disobeying orders. Now, I liked this campaign, but we are chasing missiles. Same as last campaign. We go into the next mission, and we get stuck in a reactor. We see Captain Price almost die, but obviously with him being one of the main 5 or 6 characters, he has the best armor you can get. Plot armor. We go into payload, which is the obligatory sniper mission. Even though you use an EBR and it is classed as a Marksman Rifle, it's still classed as a sniper. It one-shots, it has a scope. It's a sniper. Towards the end of the mission, we have to set off the missile but close the bunker door, leaving Farah in there. And as you may have thought, Farah died. But not really. She's got plot armor as well. Price tries getting hold of Laswell. Turns out Laswell's in danger because the missiles are heading right for where she's going to. This leads us into the first mission where we play as her. I'm going to be honest, this mission felt extremely pointless. This mission did not need to be in the game at all. This could have easily been a cutscene. Laswell also appears to be wearing that good plot armor as well. Leading into the next mission, we see Makarov in an airport. Oh boy, we've seen this before. Thankfully though, this time everyone gets on the plane safely. I guess I spoke too soon, but it's okay, we have a pistol, we can stop it. Okay, never mind. Leading us into crash site, Farah needs to get intel to prove this was not her people that caused this, prove them innocent, and prove it was someone else. This mission, even though it's open combat, it was okay, but this was definitely my least favorite mission if we don't count the Laswell mission. Obligatory flashback mission showing when Makarov was captured. We then go into a mission to capture Andrea, who says he isn't going to tell us where Makarov is. Turns out Makarov is on the move. Oh, wait, nope, that's Shepard. Gorodam is one of the missions that felt extremely pointless again. I knew it was a kind of like, oh, Makarov is here, but really, he isn't. It's just bombs that you need to defuse as a distraction, I guess. Leading into Danger Close, again, another obligatory mission. This time, an AC-130 mission. And we shoot down the helicopter. That helicopter had Makarov in, obviously. Price wants to check it out, but is told no, so that means Makarov's gone for good, right? Now we see the 2 kings of deceit turn on each other for some reason, and who'd have thought Makarov wasn't in that helicopter? I guess that plot armor strikes again even for Makarov. We go into Trojan Horse, taking place in London, and a very nice Easter egg, the long-awaited return of Riley from Ghosts. By far the best part of this game was his return. We check CCTV, and there is someone that we haven't seen before that goes into a tunnel. We go down to the English Channel where Makarov has stopped a train that he was on on and is going to make the tunnel implode. We go through the channel tunnel, and this kind of feels like the Mind the Gap mission from the original Modern Warfare 3 campaign back in 2011. We find the bomb and Soap starts defusing the bomb, but he needs help, so we go and help him. Soap gets hit, so we have to cover him. There's a little break in the action, so let's get this bomb defused. Turns out Makarov is here. Soap gets shot, but again, surely this is plot armor. Makarov tries to escape. You can shoot at him. However, a train gets in the way, blocking the shot. Turn around and Soap is still down. Oh no. This ending is the first time in a long time I have played any single player game where a character's death has affected me that much. My final thoughts on this campaign. It's a very average campaign with a shocking ending. In my opinion, the campaign was pretty It really didn't feel like anything new. There was nothing that really grabbed me until the end. It was a Call of Duty campaign. It was almost a copy and paste of Modern Warfare 2, just with a little bit of shock at the end. My least favorite mission, if you can count it, is the Laswell mission. Other than that, it was Crash Site. Again, I get it. I just feel like it was a filler mission. There was nothing really memorable from it other than the fact that Soap died at the end. My favorite mission is the last mission by far. I guess it was technically 2 missions rolled into one because it was Trojan Horse going into Countdown. You see Laswell typing in the report. We see Makarov is not confirmed as KIA. He is injured. Overall, the campaign was not the greatest campaign. I don't think it was really worth it. It didn't really feel like anything. It just felt like a Call of Duty campaign. There was no... I feel like it definitely didn't need to happen, like anything in the campaign. This game would have been completely fine without it. And I guess the ending kind of makes up for it, but even then, the ending, like, Soap didn't need to die at the end. As far as a campaign goes, it is not that good. As far as a Call of Duty campaign goes, it had everything in it that you can expect from a Call of Duty campaign, but it was still kind of disappointing. The Zombies game mode, I did not play that much. I played a lot of it in the first season, and that was pretty much it. I didn't keep up with the story. I didn't look at Easter eggs. I really just played the first season of Zombies, and then I was done with it. I have my reasons, which I'm going to get into. I personally didn't keep up with the story, but I also feel that the story was kind of forgotten about and just wasn't noticeable enough to feel like it was enough. Now, don't get me wrong, when I did play Zombies, I did enjoy it. The open world wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I do still prefer the round-based style. To me, the Zombies felt a little bit lackluster. It kind of felt like they copy and pasted DMZ from Modern Warfare 2, but just made some of the AIs zombies instead of mercenaries, and added zombie ether nests and ether strongholds. They're the places where you can find more zombies if you want to. On top of this, you still had mercs, which were either AI convoys or AI camps or even strongholds, and they were still AI like the zombies, so just mercenaries that had guns. Turns out there is still some AI in it from DMZ. I am aware, and I completely understand why, people used the zombies when the game first came out to learn the map, because this was going to be the Warzone map when Warzone was released. So they used it to learn that map, which I completely understand. I 100% get that. Now, one of my downsides for this type of zombies map is that there's no way of doing a real solo run. In round-based, you don't have to rely on anyone, really. You can just kind of go in as yourself. With this, if you went in as yourself, there was still quite a few other teams. There were always other players on the map. So yes, you could go in solo, but there was always other people on the map. And if you got into one where all the exfils were being constantly called in so that people could farm challenges or XP, it could make it really difficult to extract. One of the main reasons I stopped playing the zombies very early was because of the amount of times I crashed and lost all of my stuff. Either my game would crash or I had a bug where I could walk, but I couldn't look around. To anyone that had this happen to them, because I had it happen to me quite a few times, I genuinely want to know this. I don't think I ever got anything from Activision or Infinity Ward in-game to make up for what you'd lost, basically. They put on Twitter there was going to offer in-game rewards to people it affected. I never got anything. Let me know if you did receive anything, or if you didn't, please leave a comment so that I know. I'm not trying to start anything, I just want to know. Very quickly, I named this DM zombies, because that's kind of what it felt like. I didn't enjoy zombies as much the more that I played it. It kind of got boring after a while. I feel like it would have been better if they'd added in a new map. I also kind of got lost in multiplayer doing the challenges for that, the camo grind for multiplayer, everything on multiplayer, basically. Which brings us very nicely into that topic, multiplayer. I'm going to cover every gun category, and I also want to say this as well. I will only be covering guns from Modern Warfare 3, nothing that was carried over from Modern Warfare 2. Also, just to add on to the carryover thing from Modern Warfare 2, don't bring every weapon over from each category. If they were to do it again, I would suggest only doing cosmetics and maybe 1 or 2 weapons from each category, and I would probably go with the weaker weapons but tune them so that they match the newer weapons. I say the weak ones, I mean more specifically the ones that people didn't use that much in the previous game. Now, the way the loadouts worked in this game was very interesting, especially with the new perk system. Instead of having perk 1, 2, and 3 like we have had previously, it was the exact same, but rewording it. Loadouts consisted of vest, glove, boots, and then gear. I know they do the same thing, but I think they were trying to make it a bit more appealing. I guess it makes it a bit more realistic, but I'm not here to get into the realism debate. Personally, I prefer having perks 1, 2, and 3 over having vest, gloves, boots, gear. Let's start by going through the assault rifles first. The ARs were amazing from the start. They were all great. MTZ was great. SVA was actually one of my favorite ARs when the game first came out, and so was the Holger. I did eventually find out about the MCW side using that, and it was a better version of the MTZ in my opinion, and it was extremely powerful, little recoil, great gun. We also had the return of the FAMAS in the form of the FR, and as I said, such a good set of ARs, and they added more that fit in really well. I feel like now you could use any assault rifle and do good with it. The STG and the Bell both fit in very well, and the same with the Ram 7. The BP50 was the only one that felt a little bit off, and it felt like it was a midpoint between an SMG and an AR. It was a great gun, but it just didn't have that range that a lot of the other ARs had. I'm going to start off by saying with the battle rifles, I would actually be okay if I never saw these again in a Call of Duty game. Don't get me wrong, they were good, they hit hard, they were kind of like a harder hitting version of an assault rifle, but they had a slower fire rate. Personally, I would rather just use an assault rifle just for the faster fire rate and a little bit of range, but I had a lot of fun with the BAS-B, and they brought out the Outlaws 227 kit for it, which was extremely fun to use, but it got nerfed in like 48 hours, which I'm not surprised. Just to add on to the Outlaw kit, my personal opinion on it, like I say, great, I had a lot of fun with it. I feel it wouldn't have been nerfed as fast if it was on a Marksman rifle. I feel like they had a specific expectation for battle rifles, and that BAS-B Outlaw took it over their expectations, basically. Moving on to the submachine guns, it was an interesting class for me. On launch, we had 6, but it was really more like we had 4. We had the AMR-9, the Rival 9, the Striker 9, the WSP-9, and I'm pretty sure they love the number 9 with this, because we also got the Ram 9 and the HRM-9 later on. Now, the 2 that I didn't mention was the Striker and the WSP Swarm. The Striker was like the original UMP. The Striker 9 was like an updated version of the original UMP, so the Striker 9 was an updated version of the Striker. Same goes for the WSP Swarm. It felt like it was a compact version of the WSP 9. So that was kind of 2 guns that had been separated into original and updated, and then compact and normal. Now, for quite some time at the start of the game, I was using the Striker over the Rival 9, even in ranked, because it was at the same level as the Rival 9. In my opinion, the Striker was extremely underrated at the start of this game. Now, while I mentioned that 2 of them were different versions of the same gun, all the submachine guns had a unique style in this. The WSP 9 felt different to the WSP Swarm. The Striker 9 felt different to the Striker. And obviously all the other submachine guns felt different to all the ones that I've just mentioned. I did really enjoy using the SMGs, and the ones they added in were good as well. The Ram 9 fit in perfectly. The FJX Horus was a great gun on a lot of the smaller maps, and the Superi with the right attachments was a very good gun, and still one of the most used weapons that I've seen more recently. Moving on to shotguns, this is always an interesting class for me. I will say, when it comes to shotguns in Call of Duty, I will always prefer pump action over semi-auto. The Riveter made its name known very quickly, and when people find out what the incendiary rounds did, and a lot of people compared it to the Brecci. At the start of the game, we had 3 shotguns. We had the Lockwood 680, which was the only pump action on launch. Then we had the Haymaker and the Riveter, which were semi-auto shotguns. The Haymaker ended up becoming kind of like the middle child when the Riveter got that buff that I mentioned. I wish I could skip this one, but I'm too far in at this point. The LMGs, this is probably my least favorite weapon just because they are heavy and bulky and they don't suit my playstyle. With that being said, this is probably the most fun I have ever had with LMGs. The aftermarket attachments, which I have not mentioned enough in this, I feel like they were a huge thing for this game. For example, we had the Bullpup kit. The Bullpup kit increased mobility and handling and made this feel a lot less heavy and made it feel a bit more like an assault rifle. The DG58 and the Holger 26 were both very solid, but I don't feel like they were really light machine guns. They didn't have that clunky feel, and they did feel like just a light machine gun version of assault rifles. With me mentioning aftermarket kits, I cannot leave out the RPK Cataclysm kit. Essentially turning the RPK into a Barrett 50 cal, definitely, as someone who has sniped for quite a few years, definitely one of my favourite kits added to the game. Marksman Rifles were another weapon set that I did not use that much. That was until the Kar 98 came out. These were very fun to use in hardcore for the camo grind, especially the KVD Enforcer. Now I'm going to be honest, I don't have much to say about these. If I was to talk about them, it would mainly be the Kar that I'd be talking about, and I feel that's a bit unfair. That being said, I feel like the Kar didn't really fit into the Marksman Rifle category because it is the only Marksman Rifle that can one-shot, and it is also the only bolt-action Marksman Rifle. At least from the Modern Warfare 3 weapons. It is a great gun. I feel like it fits more into the Sniper Rifle category though, which leads us on to the Sniper Rifle category. Obviously, we had the Cat AMR, which is the hardest hitting sniper. It is also the slowest. The Cat AMR reminded me of the ZRG from Cold War. The longbow was by far the fastest, and it was basically an AK-47 that could one-shot. Now, my personal favourite on launch was KV Inhibitor, because it was a little bit of a midpoint, I guess. Decent semi-auto. I didn't really like the longbow that much, and the Cat was a little bit too slow. But we did also get the addition of the Moors and the XRK, which are both very solid. Neither of these disappointed when they were added. The XRK very quickly became a nice main sniper. There was a little bit of a competition for the longbow. And the Moors, again, is another great weapon, another great sniper rifle, and both of these very quickly for me replaced the longbow. I will actually add on to this what I was saying about the Kar and the fact that the Kar was essentially a sniper rifle in a marksman rifle class. I kind of feel like that with the longbow. The longbow was a marksman rifle in a sniper rifle class. I genuinely feel like they could have just swapped them two. If they'd have put the longbow into the marksman rifle class and the Kar into the sniper class, it would have been great. Sidearms in this game, I again don't have much to say on these. They were very classic Call of Duty. You've got your standard semi-auto sidearm with Call 45. Then you've got the Renetti, your burst fire pistol. Then you've got the Tia, which is a revolver and with the right attachments could actually one-shot. Finally, another WSP gun. This time it is called the Stinger and is a full auto machine gun pistol. All of these very solid. I feel like you could use any of these. It just comes down to personal preference. A very good selection for sidearms. On launch, we only had one launcher. The only one that was in from Modern Warfare 3 was the RGL. Now, from what I can remember, this got nerfed very fast, and the Stormender was added in Season 1. The Stormender, in my opinion, was a very good addition. It was basically a launcher that launched an EMP onto streaks and would take them down. I loved it, I'm going to be honest. It was such a great twist on a launcher. It was brilliant. And more recently, we got a bow added as a launcher. That's another one that I don't feel like should be a launcher, but I also don't know what category it goes into because I feel like it doesn't go into any other category. It's a bit weird. Melee weapons, we have 3 knives, a sword, and a sledgehammer. Again, I don't have much to say about these. They're melee weapons. I really don't know what to tell you about these. The only one that stood out to me was the sword, the Soul Render, which was only because it could counter riot shields. But not many people use riot shields now. And if they do, you can easily switch to the Soul Render. Next segment of this, and I know this is going to be a lot, but going through every season and the things that were included in the seasons. As I said, this is going to be very in-depth. Now, before Season 1 came out, it was such a weird feeling for me. I was kind of vocal about this on stream, but not anywhere else. It was old maps which have been remastered, and obviously with it being 15 years since these maps were first seen, it plays different. A lot changes in 15 years, who would have thought? You know, there's different weapons, it's different mechanics, both took a while to get used to, and I definitely know a lot of people got bored of this game very fast because, as I say, the maps that we've been playing, some of us have been playing these maps for 15 years. There are people that still play Modern Warfare 2, they've gone back. They either didn't play right with Modern Warfare 3, or they just played different because it's a different game 15 years on. I also feel like I gotta say this as well. I love the Modern Warfare 2 maps. I genuinely think this is the last time that they're going to do anything like this where they remaster all of the maps into one game. That being said, I do appreciate what Sledgehammer did with the maps, moving the spawns and keeping things fresh. It is such a difficult thing to manage, having maps that we have had for so many years and trying to make them fresh for a game that has progressed so much. The movement mechanics have changed so much, you can climb on pretty much anything now. And I genuinely feel like Sledgehammer did a great job with this. That being said, I'm going to talk about the spawns because that, at the start of the game, was one of the things they didn't do so great. I can definitely name a few spawns that were very terrible. The one that was most notable for me was on the Modern Warfare 3 beta when you played High Rise, on specific game modes of High Rise, and it was a really big pet peeve of mine. You did not spawn in the buildings like you do now in High Rise. You used to spawn in the little like pit area of the map, and it would take out like half of the map and essentially turn High Rise into shipment. Even on Hardpoint, where one of the points is inside the building. One of the other ones for me, Invasion, and it hasn't been changed. Domination, if you have 2 flags and you start spawning Palace side, that's it. You're spawning in Palace for the rest of the game, right at the back of Palace for the entire game. You are not moving from that spot. Personally, the spawns were definitely a downfall for this game. Now, Season 1 came out less than a month after the game's release. Came out December 6th. It brought a load of new content. We got 3 maps, one of them being Meat, a very small map, but I wish they'd spent a few more minutes on the name. Grease, which was okay, but a little and Rio. Rio really depends on the game mode. Kill Confirm, Team Deathmatch, and Domination, most people just sat top escalators and essentially turned that map into that little square bit at the top of the escalators. Hardpoint, that map was insane, and I'm pretty sure it's the same for Search and Destroy. We got rank play in, we got 2 new streaks, we got EMP and Swarm, we got 5 new weapons, the XRK Stalker, which was a sniper, Ram 7, which is an assault rifle, HRM9, which is Submachine Gun, TAC Evolver, which is the LMG, and the Stormender EMP launcher. That was just multiplayer. I'm not even mentioning Warzone or Zombies, or even the collabs and events. I'm going to leave all of that out of this. I'm going to be honest with that now. Personally, I spent most of Season 1, if not all of Season 1, unlocking Interstellar, which I eventually got on the 30th of December 2023. This is the first time I've got a Mastery Camo on a Call of Duty game. I am very glad it was with this game. For me, this is one of the best Call of Duty games recently. The other reason being, and this is just a pure coincidence, I mentioned this at the time, but it matches my backdrop. Now, I did play a little bit of Ranked in Season 1. When it came to it, it was a struggle for me to do anything because I played solo a lot of the time. We also saw the addition of Vortex. This one was extremely interesting for me because it was essentially free-for-all. But there was one player that had a ray gun, and if you killed them, you got the ray gun. Season 2 was released on February 7th, and again we got 4 new weapons, a new vest, and technically 5 brand new maps. I say technically 5 because one of them was a war map and the other 4 were multiplayer. We got Sash House, Vista, Departures, and Das House. Departures is probably my favourite map that was added to the game. Weapons were the BP-50, the Ram 9, which was a submachine gun, the SOA Subverter, which was a battle rifle, and the Soul Render, which was a sword. The new vest we got was the Ninja Vest, eliminating footstep sounds, making you immune to movement reduction effects, and you get bonus throwing star and throwing knife ammo, which were resupplied every 25 seconds. This eliminated the use of covert sneakers. While I'm on the topic of covert sneakers, I want to talk about Dead Silence a little bit. At the point of them adding Ninja, we now have more than 3 ways to eliminate footstep audio. You have the Ninja Vest, you have covert sneakers, and thanks to the carryover system, you have the Dead Silence field upgrade. The field upgrade was pointless, no one used it, there was no point using it. I can't remember which update it was either, but they actually did nerf covert sneakers because they found out the majority of players were using them and nothing else. They were not using any other boots, they were just using covert sneakers. April 3rd, we got Season 3, and again, another 6 maps. This was a great year for maps. One of the maps was a gunfight map, so I guess technically we got 5 for regular 6v6. We got Emergency, which was a great small map. We got 6-star, which is another one of my favorites. Grime, which I have played a little bit of, but not much. I don't really like that map that much. Tanked, which is probably my least favorite map that was released. And finally, Grow House, which was another amazing map. We got another 4 weapons, mostly Advanced Warfare themed. The Mars Sniper Rifle made a return, and so did the Bal Assault Rifle. We also got the FJX Horus, which was a little like a middle ground between the MP9 and the MP7. And then we got 3 vests, a compression carrier, a modular assault rig, and a gunslinger vest. We also got the reinforced boots and a new perk called High Gain Antenna. Season 4 was around the time I stopped playing as much and was the first battle pass that I didn't complete, but I still feel like I played a lot of it. I think I played up to Reloaded of Season 4 and then stopped. We got 3 new maps, one of them was Tokyo. I don't mind it, but it really depends what game mode you play. It is one of them maps. Most people stick to the road side of the map, especially on Domination. Paris, another great map. And Incline was another great map as well. 4 new weapons. We got a Marksman Rifle this time, with it being the Kar 98K. We got the Superi 46 SMG, which has become meta gun since. The Reclaimer 18, and finally the Sledgehammer, July 24th when Season 5 came out. I think this is the biggest season, but I am a huge WWE fan, so that's probably why I feel like it's the biggest season. But we also got the STG, which is one of my favourite guns to use. We got the Static HV, which reminded me of the PDW from Black Ops 2. And for Season 5 Reloaded, we got the Spear, and we got the Torque 35, which was a bow. We got 2 new maps, first one being Bait, which is a very interesting map. I don't love it, I don't hate it, I just find it interesting. I really liked Yard. I like the way that they introduced cell shading and kind of likes that Borderlands art style. They also added this to Shipment and Rust, and also to Stash House. We also had the EMP grenade added, and that's where it stops for me. I wanted to do the last part of this video as a face-to-face type thing. No gameplay, just me on the screen, giving you my honest opinion of Modern Warfare 3. As far as this game goes, with everything it gave us, all the aftermarket parts, all the maps, all the weapons that were added, all of the after-launch content was really good with this game. I really hope that Treyarch keep this going forward. I really hope that Call of Duty keeps this going forward with games that they bring out. This game was honestly such a good game. The whole year was good. Everything that they released, all the maps, the limited time modes, the weapons, the aftermarket parts, everything that was post-launch content was incredibly good. Admittedly, and I didn't cover it at all, but admittedly Season 6 kind of fell off a little bit with maps, but we all understand the reasons why. You know, Treyarch took a couple of maps. My final review of this game is that it was genuinely really good. It is definitely up there as one of my favourites of the more recent Call of Duties. It would sort of go Cold War, then this. I feel like this would be second. I have a feeling it was Merc Music that mentioned this in one of his videos, but the aftermarket parts really carried this game. The things you could do with the aftermarket parts, some of them were overpowered, some of them were just fun, some of them didn't work as intended. I also want to just go back with what I said with this being my number 2 favourite Call of Duty as of recent, Cold War being 1, this being number 2. That is purely multiplayer. That is nothing else. If I was to rank it by anything else, it would be quite far down the list. Final overall review for this game, the campaign was kind of I'd probably give that a 5 out of 10. Zombies, even though I did find it enjoyable, I would probably give that a 3 just because it kind of got boring after a while. There was no map, there was nothing like that, there was nothing really new added. It kind of felt like it got left behind. As far as multiplayer goes, if it had just kept the base maps that were with the game, I think I would have genuinely given this like a 5. But because of the post-launch content and all the maps and everything like that, I would easily give this a 7. As an overall game, I genuinely don't know what I'd give this out of 10. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. If I was to rank it overall, I think I'd give it about a 6 out of 10 because it's just, the multiplayer is amazing, but the zombies and the campaign is just where it gets let down. I haven't got anything against the gunplay, how the game feels, how the weapons feel. All the weapons felt great. The aftermarket parts felt great. With the campaign, the storyline was what was lacking. It kind of felt like a copy and paste of Modern Warfare 2 to extent. And the zombies, they tried something new. It worked for a bit, and then it kind of dropped off. The other one, and I didn't mention this in the video, but the other thing that dropped off in this game was the war mode. The war mode started with one map. We got one additional map in like season 2, and that was it. It dropped off completely after that. They just gave up with war mode. And that's pretty much all I've got to say about Modern Warfare 3. Black Ops 6 comes out on the 25th of October, and I honestly can't wait for that. After playing the beta and seeing all the changes they've done to the game since the beta, we've got a good campaign carrying from Cold War. We've got a decent multiplayer from what I played in the beta. Round-based zombies is back. We're starting off with 2 zombies maps. It looks incredible. So, as always, I'm gonna finish up here. Remember, liking is free, subscribing is also free. Feel free to do both of them. And as always, have a nice day, night, whatever time it is for you, and I'll see you in Black Ops 6.